Why is J. Cole so popular? Now, if you're a J. Cole hater, I'm sure you've been asking this for a very long time. But if you love J. Cole, to you, this is almost blasphemous. He's J. Cole. Because I'm sure you're thinking, well, he's one of the best rappers you've ever heard. And I can argue, yes, that is true. J. Cole, especially after 2018 and up, has vastly improved his rapping skills on a technical level. He's always been a solid rapper, but it's almost like he's found a way to put himself at the very top right now. But J. Cole was always popular before that. Is it the songs? I mean, he's got songs that I love because I'm not a J. Cole hater. I love the man. But he doesn't really have songs that if you go outside of our realm, the hip hop realm and the R&B realm, and, typical America internationally, that a lot of people can point to it and say, ooh, that's a number one hit. In fact, the only number one hit on Billboard that J. Cole has is First Person Shooter, which he was a feature on. Or is it because he was signed by Roc Nation and the Jay-Z co-signed? That helps. That most definitely helps. I'm sure there are other rappers that will line up that would take that opportunity nowadays that thinks, hey, if I've got Jay-Z behind me, that would boost my career. But if you know J. Cole's story, as much as he got that help from Jay-Z, it also came with a lot of pressure and a lot of, you're sometimes not showing us to be the guy that we thought you were. Now, obviously, J. Cole has went on to drop numerous of albums that have done really well that even had Roc Nation baffled. So what is it? Well, to me, every rapper has a superpower. At least that's how I've categorized it. And some of them are very quantifiable. You can see it within their rap skills. Do you tell the best stories? Do you have the greatest punchlines? Do you rap so many syllables that people can't figure out? Is it the technical ability or is it the image? J. Cole mixes a lot of those things, but his superpower is weird. It's hard to explain, but once I say it, it's super obvious. It's his relatability. Yeah, you heard me. J. Cole's relatability is exactly why he's so popular. See, it's been a year since J. Cole went on a Dreamville Fest and apologized to Kendrick Lamar. You remember that, right? And they just had 2025 Dreamville Fest, and that's when it hit me. And as I'm watching him from last year to this year and still watching thousands of people show up to that festival and show him some love, and I'm watching him do these deep mixtape cuts that a lot of artists wouldn't feel that confident to do, even at their own festival. And I watched people being enamored with him as he told these stories about how he came up. I said, oh, that's it right there. People feel you. People relate to you. People can put themselves in their shoes even through your ups and downs and your mishaps, right? Think about J. Cole's career. At the beginning, he gave you a slogan, dollar and a dream. I don't know if they sat there and they planned all of this out, but my God, they mistakenly landed into curating, making a rapper. Him and his friends and his homies and his business partners at Dreamville and Roc Nation, making a rapper that the average person can go, oh, I'm just like him, right? Dollar and a dream. That works for everybody. We all start off somewhere. Even the Nepo babies, they've convinced themselves. I started with a dollar and a dream. I've got to grind. Then they intertwined that with the college story. They made sure they took that college story, put it together with basketball, sports, something also very relatable. And then you had the come up, the warm up, Friday Night Lights. And then you had J. Cole go through this phase where, remember what I told you about Roc Nation when they felt like he wasn't meeting the standards? They said, hey, you're a rapper now. So give us some hits. And J. Cole tried. He stumbled. And he even told this story at the Dreamville Fest this year of how he was searching for hits and trying to figure it out. And that's what led him to doing Workout. Now, if you remember, Workout led him to having a problem with Nas. Well, not a problem, but Nas had a problem with the song, apparently telling No ID. Ugh, that one's cringy. And then he ran into Nas and had a conversation and did let Nas down. And Nas made a remix and said, you didn't let Nas. That feels very normal. It feels very human. We have people that we look up to. See, if you let the caption boys and the commenters tell it, oh, J. Cole's fickle. J. Cole can't stand on anything. But that's human as hell. That is human as hell. Starting from nothing, going to school while chasing your dreams, getting on, just wanting to rap and tell your story, but you sign a deal and you're upfront about the fact that you can't make a hit record because that wasn't your event. And then chasing a hit record, make the hit record, not being able to sit with it, telling us the story of how you hated that disgusted one of your idols. Then you go from that time, and as he's figuring all this out, I think he figures it out himself. Like, hey, this is my superpower. And then we get, in my opinion, his best album. In my opinion, a classic album in 2014, Forest Hill Drive. And out of that album, I do hear people now making fun of a song like Wet Dreams. Right? Oh, he was rapping about losing his B card. And again, that's his superpower, relatability. I hope for many of you watching this video, you know what that's like. Unless you're under the age of, don't do that. That's just focus. Don't lose me. But if you're a grown adult over, I don't know, 21 years old, you remember that. It was a weird time. It was an awkward time. And if you probably wrote a song about it, it was very close to that. And then you go from that era to him now in what I call the middle child era, when he starts deciding to do features and you have to make a proclamation that, hey, you know what? I understand my positioning right now. I understand there's that mega hit record guy in Drake who's out there dominating the charts. And then there's this other guy that tells the stories and he puts the album things together and people love him and he's super technical as an MC. And then there's me. I do a little bit of everything, but where do I stand? Middle child. And he's honest with himself. And he does the Evans EP and says, you know what? Some people say I'm running third. And I think at that moment, he got a competitive drive in him and said, you know what? I'm going to start going hard. I'll show up on everybody's album. I'll buy the features and I'll do everything. And then he does that. But at the same time, I think the relationship with Drake, he's trying to figure out how to navigate that and say, hey, you know what? These are one of my peers. These are guys that they're the only guys that know what it feels like to be this. So I'm going to try to cozy up there. But I'm going to try to cozy up with Kendrick. But in my opinion, Kendrick goes, you know what? I'm not really cozying up with anybody. This is my new stage in my life. So that doesn't happen. So he just leans with Drake. And then he gets in the middle of some, you remember. And K-Dot was being extremely competitive. And that whole noise went down and J. Cole, being pretty human, ran into the studio and recorded some shit. I've been on record as saying I think I know how he should handle it. I'll cover that in another long form video about the entire beef later on. But he handled it this way, and I want to focus on that. And when he handled it that way and dropped that record on My Delete Later, he slept on it, woke up and said, that doesn't sit right with my spirit. And he came out publicly, apologized, and everybody beat him up. And I said, you know what? A lot of you have felt that. You may have not acted on that, but you felt that. And low-key, you relate to that. But it's easy when we're posturing online to just jump on the nets and at least go, well, I'd rather be like Drake. Or I'd rather be like Kendrick, because even if Drake lost, look, he went out swinging. And even though Kendrick is extremely hyper-competitive, I like that he stand on something. Ain't no big three. It's just big me. And I get it. But then he went through that phase, dropped some records, just touching on a few topics a little bit, Point Antonio. Some of you didn't like that as well, because, it was sitting heavy on his heart of where people think he is after the beef. Did you sell out Drake? What's happening? And he's like, you know what? I'm not choosing sides here. That's a lot of you. You're not that invested in this rap beef. I mean, it's fun for you to talk like you're online, but when you get off, you're going to go listen to good music. And if it's Drake Nokia playing through your earbuds, you're going to listen to it. And if it's Luther from Kendrick, you're going to bump that. You're really not on the side just like him. But I know, you're a posture online. And then you see that and going from that phase to this next phase. Now, I see another guy. As I watched him at Dreamville, one-man security behind him, but being amongst the people, I said, oh, this is, especially for the people that grew with him, this is even more relatable. The fall-off era. And in this era, I'm predicting a guy that will actually admit that, hey, you know what? I think I've given this game my all. I think I'm ready to do a lot of other things. I think I'm ready to help people on my label become the best that they can be. And I think I've worked hard enough that I feel like there might not be too much to siphon out of this game. And even then, some of you will push back. Oh, J. Cole, you can keep going. He's what, 40, a father of two, married. And I saw in his inevitable post that's some of the things he wants to talk about, what life has been like for him in that stage. And that's why I'm excited about the fall off, because I think he's going to tap into his superpower again. And I know for the younger kids, you might be like, do I really want to hear that? But for the people that grew with him, it's going to bring you back to that moment. Because in this previous era of his, it was just about, hey, I rap really well. Let me show you how much I've caught up to these two guys. But that relatability, it has never left him. And in this era, the fall off era, I think we're all going to get another glimpse of why J. Cole is so popular.